What's going on, guys? Today we are back with another video, and I've actually been fishing for a little while. I've been blown off the water twice already today, and it's probably gonna happen a third time. We've had big storms coming through with all this humidity, and I've been catching fish all day long, and I've been catching fish on a number of different things. I've been catching fish on the hyper rattle stuff. I've been catching fish snap jigging plastics. I've been catching fish trolling. But what is the best thing? One thing that is 100% true about this channel is whatever you see me catching fish on that day is probably the best pattern going on, right? And sometimes these patterns might go for 3, 4, 5 days in a row. Sometimes they might go for 2 weeks in a row. Sometimes they might go for a day. But whatever I'm doing that way is not a cheesy sales pitch. It is whatever is fishing the best on that day. And today, what is fishing best is spinner rigs. And we have a beautiful wind today. It's a nice chop out here. And we have not had a wind for a long time. And one thing wind does is it centers fish up on structure, right? We've been doing a lot of open water fishing or very deep water fishing with the hyper rattles. And what this wind does, it sucks a lot of fish back up onto these weed edges or close to those weed edges. And today what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be ripping spinner rigs down these weed edges and hopefully catching a bunch of fish. I've already caught some fish today doing this, but we're gonna kind of go into basically how I'm setting up to run a lot of these weed edges and why I'm setting up that way, and you know, why this is such an effective way to fish this time of year. So stay tuned. We got to take off to the first spot. Hopefully catch some nice walleyes today. I'm so happy it's hot out today, but it's not 6 million degrees out, and we have a nice chop, so I think we're gonna catch them. Stay tuned. Oh, look at this. For the first one of the day, we got a doubled up on this board over here. Plus I got one on the down rod at the same time. That's how we like to get things going. I wasn't really sure what to film today. Nice fish here to start. Oh, I was like, why not just film the thing that's working the best right now? Genius idea, right? I actually caught some fish hyper rattling, caught some fish doing some other stuff, but every day is a different day. And all right, that's number one. So all I'm gonna do here is just leave that fish in the water. Now I'm gonna reel my other one in. I'm just gonna slow us way down here. We're headed for trouble. This feels like a nice one. That's the way we like to get things going. Doubled up first, probably 10 yards of the first pass. Whenever you're trolling, great tip is set up long before you get to your spot so that you know you'll be set up by the time you get there. Do we still have this fish on? I think we do. We do. Another nice walleye to get things going. It's kind of acting goofy and coming at me now. Oh yeah, nice walleye. This is how we like to start the day off. I've been dodging thunderstorms all day long. And there's another big storm on the way here. Come here, buddy. And there we go. Nice little double to start. I gotta take care of some lines here because we are tangled because of this and because of that, but we'll catch back up with you. All right, there we go. That's how we want to start the day. Beautiful double, both about 21, 22 inch twins, and we're gonna get them right back right away because one of the things I do want to talk about today is fish handling. Hooked up, and this is acting substantial on the board rod, kind of keeping this one way off the edge, either skirting if there's a little extension out there or skirting the outside of the open water. Oh boy, we got another double on here. All right, This is too fun when it's like this. I'm gonna crank this one tight just to make sure the rod's loaded and the hook is set. He is on. This one feels big. This one feels real big. I gotta take our speed down. The one on the rod is probably so-so, but if this is a walleye, this is big. He is running around crazy. I don't know how good the audio is today. It is just so windy out there. It gave me a little bit of line there. This is a walleye. We really want to catch this one. I don't know, man. He's just pulling so hard I can't even get the board to me. All right, here's our shot. Pop the board off. Still got the other one on. Somehow I'm getting lucky here. I really wish I had somebody else with me right now. Right at the boats where we really gotta baby these guys. Gotta be a good walleye. It's just gotta be. Oh yeah, nice walleye here. Right by the boats where we really want to take our time. A lot of times I'll even back that drag off a little bit right next to the boat, because they do that. Keep the net here, watch out, Surly. This is what it's about. Too much fun. And a lot of days where you got a little bit of wind like this, these fish kind of suck up onto these weeds a little bit more. There we go, another quality walleye. All right, we're gonna do the same thing as before. We're gonna grab this rod out, which somehow magically still has a fish on it. I don't think this one's as big, but it's still gonna be a nice one. I mean, he's down. This is gonna be another nice walleye. I was mistaken. Look at that, I just can't even bring them up right now. They are on the spinners. Not a giant fish. Oh, buddy. All right, we're gonna do another double net job here. Not as big as I thought he was, but can't beat that. 2 at a time and 2 at a time. Let's get him popped off and we'll show you guys. All right, there's the smaller of the two. Nice, about 17 incher. We'll let him go. He's good to go. And there's the better one. Solid about 22, 23. Tough to beat pulling spinners for doubles like that. We're gonna let it go. And one thing I really want to talk about when it's hot like this is spend a little bit of extra time with these fish when you're letting them go. Because what you see a lot of times is if you just let those fish go and just kind of dunk them, it doesn't happen with the smaller ones for some reason, but the bigger ones, just take your time, hold them in the water. Most of the time they'll shoot right away, but sometimes they might take just an extra second to push down. And I don't know why that is, but a lot of times it happens when it's hot. And you know, these fish are, you know, they're down quite a ways, so you kind of pull them through that hot zone. They're not down super deep. It's not like we're doing any harm to them because of the depth they're in. It's just that surface water is so hot and stagnant because we haven't had wind to roll it over and mix it up. And spend an extra second with those fish, make sure they swim down, and good to go. Let's do that again. So one thing people might be wondering, don't do this a lot, is how come I'm setting up the way I am with 2 down rods and 1 board rod. And a lot of times you see me doing this, we'll be trolling just full on 6 board rods at a time. And it's kind of situational, right? So what I'm doing basically is I'm streaking down a weed edge right now, and the weeds are all off this side of me. So I don't really care about running boards farther up that way. And most of these fish will position themselves relatively close to that weed bed, right? So what I'm doing is I'm skirting this weed bed, and I'm very close to the weeds, and I've got it mapped out. But if you don't have it mapped out, what you can do is use side imaging to follow that weed edge. So I'm running my 2 down rods, obviously, because the boat's just outside the weeds, right on that weed edge, in the most likely spot for fish to be. Now, what I'm taking and doing with my planer board rod, or my outside rod here, is I'm sending it out at the same depth. Once we get untangled here, we kind of got a big tangle. But what I'm doing is I'm sending this out at the same depth as I'm running these other baits, but I'm getting it off the weed edge a little bit more, right? Because it doesn't make any sense for me to put this thing on the inside and run it even farther up there into the weeds. But there are some fish, scattered pods, that are holding just off that weed edge, and those are the fish we're targeting with our board rod. So that's why I kind of got 2 down rods, and then I'm running this outside board rod just outside of the weed edge, a little bit farther than my down rods, right? It's a super effective way if, you know, if you're obviously, if you're lucky enough to run a few rods, or if you live in a state it's only one rod, if you got a few guys in the boat, to spread stuff like this. And if you had even more people and you wanted to run more lines, one thing you could do is you could go to, like, since I'm running 1 ounce bouncers, you could go to 2 ounce bouncers and run 2 winger outside rods like this, then run 2 2-ounces right down the middle, because you're going to be on a lot less line and they're not going to get tangled up. So you can see how spinner rigging is, it's very easy to manipulate where your bait is. And that's one reason you can kind of play with your spread a lot. You know, crankbaits, unless you're running lead core or weighting crankbaits, which gets kind of, you know, finicky for the most part, you're kind of limited as to what you can do with them. But spinners, running different weights and spreading them out a little bit, you can cover a lot of water much differently than you could with crankbaits. And right as I got done talking about the importance of having a board rod, it goes off too perfect. I gotta steer the boat here off this weed edge. But yeah, you know, it'd be easy just to run those 2 down rods and call it good, because that's where most of the fish are. But spreading lines and getting stuff outside of that weed edge, especially in midsummer, you know, in that early summer period, you have a lot of fish that'll just hold right on that exact weed edge or in a pocket in the weeds. We just did a big turn, that's why this board's gonna come in weird, that's all right. But this time of year, you know, in the middle of the summer, these fish will definitely suck off the edge, and you'll have some stragglers that just kind of sit out there a ways off the edge. And this feels like a decent fish, and a lot of times what you'll see is those fish that are just off the edge are a little bit nicer fish. I don't know if this one is or not. It doesn't feel too bad. There he goes. Oh. But I love trolling for this exact reason. When you replicate a pattern, it can be one of the best ways to fish. It's not always applicable. Wow, Surly, you're not on the net this time. It's a miracle. Not a big one, but a nice fish here. We are catching them. Been out for about an hour so far doing the spinner rig thing. It's obviously paying off. There's another nice northern Wisconsin walleye right there. Not a giant, but hey, if we're catching 20 inches all day, that is what it's about. There we go. There's another nice, about 19, 20 inch. Super gold, beautiful walleye. Let's let him go. See you later, buddy. Thanks for playing. He's gonna dart. There you go. So kind of the spots we're fishing, kind of your ideal scenario is that you have generally a large main lake oriented weed bed, some kind of piece of structure that looks something like this right here. And what you want to see is some kind of flat outside of that weed bed. What you don't want to see so much is, like, if you have like a 12-foot weed edge, you don't want to hit 12 feet and then it just plummets to like 80 feet of water or 40 feet of water or whatever. Because there's not a lot of room on that break to be holding fish, right? There's a lot of, those fish will either be set up right on that edge or there'll be open water in that scenario. Now, the reason I like these spots with like a big flat, a big slow tapering 12 to 25, 30-foot edge is because it lets you run more lines off that break, and it increases that spot's carrying capacity for there to be a lot more fish there. So again, a big spot that looks something like this, and some of these fish will be right here snugged up to the weed edge. Some of the other fish might be in pods kind of lingering out here in this 20-foot zone. So find a piece of structure like this that's big, that you can control, that's got good weeds on it, and there's probably going to be walleyes there, and you can probably do the exact same thing I'm doing and have success doing it. There we go. Another fish on. It is windy out. Not even on that big of a lake. It's just not crazy like whitecappy, it's just crazy windy. But the wind's got them up here on this weed edge, and we are catching them. Can't complain about that. Watch out, Surly, we need the net. You always seem to be standing on the net when I need the net. Oh, they are angry today. They're not enjoying being caught as much as I'm enjoying catching them. Another nice one here though. Looks to be about a 19-inch fish. Oh, he's angry right at the boat all of a sudden. here, buddy. Jeez, they are fighting in there. Oh my gosh, I wish I had somebody with me. There we go. He's not quite 19, he's a chunky 18-incher though. Awesome. And I actually did a little adjustment. You probably realize it was the first fish I caught on that side of the boat. And I got one of my favorite spinners on that side. And that side was catching all the fish. And I was trolling like more of a flame colored blade on this side. Did not get bit, so what I did is I took that off and put on a very similar one. I always hate running all three the same baits, but I'm running a very similar pattern. And I'll kind of show you the difference here in a second as far as what I'm running, but there's another nice one. And like I said, when you're letting these guys go this time of year and this water's super hot, just hold them for a second. And when they're ready, they'll kick away good on you. Awesome. So one thing I always say is I'm not a big color guy. I am not a big color guy, but I'm also not an idiot. So here's the blade that's been catching them all today, just with that little float in there. You can see that. And what I had on was more of a blade that looks something like this right here, which is normally a great color out here, kind of contrasting to what another good color is. But I switched over to this one, which is very similar to this one, and immediately got bit. So paying attention to those little things is what trolling is all about. It's all about creating a pattern. I have a lot more belief in what bait you're actually trolling and what depth you're actually trolling and are you around fish than color, but color does matter some days. Got a feeling this one's about to get popped. Just came over a good pod. Actually, we're still going over them. Yep, right there. Not big, but it is a walleye. A lot of times you can color shots like that when you're seeing a lot of them. This is just a dinker, but using sonar and side imaging, you can pick out right where those fish are. There's about a 15-incher. Beauty. That's the eater size. Let them go. Alright guys, well that is going to wrap it up for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching. It was a good about hour and a half of pulling spinners there. Super productive. You could probably do this on every spot in the lake right now and catch fish that sets up the same way, because they're definitely biting and they're definitely on. But pulling spinners down some of these deeper weed edges is a great way to catch fish, and on these outside flats of the weeds really all summer. And I would say it's definitely the best when you have some wind. These shallower water weed fish are always biting better in wind because they center up better on a lot of that structure, and really everything that revolves around a shallow water bite is generally better when you have a little bit of wind. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna try to get another video doing something a little bit different this evening here, because fish are biting and I gotta take advantage of it, right? But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the walleye content this week. It's been a good week of walleye fishing, and we got more walleye content on the way. If you're not yet, please subscribe, stay tuned for more. I gotta catch some more fish.